Geek Squad. Geek Squad. Geek Squad. Geek Squad. Geek Squad.
And a very good evening to you. I guess you heard that, Geek Squad, so I don't have to tell you what show it is, but I'm still going to say it anyway. It's Geek Squad. My name is Kobby Spiky Nkrumah, and on Tuesdays, I come to you in your cars, in your homes, on your headphones. If you're listening to us after today, it'll be via podcast or on Facebook or YouTube live stream, or you're probably just chilling somewhere with a Walkman that has FM radio. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a time traveler.
I want that. I would want a Walkman.
Yeah, Walkman with an FM radio.
Maybe it has my Walkman.
Michael, your Walkman is lost with the blue pill from the Matrix. Yeah, we can't find it.
Well, look, there's a new Matrix coming. There's a chance to reverse all of this and send my Walkman back, please.
What do you need it for anyway?
It's a memento. A keepsake.
Just go on eBay and find one that's
It's not the
available.
same one.
You could find one that's similar.
Oh yeah, let me give some shout outs to Justice, a listener
Right.
of this show from the US. And this said Justice recognized me just by voice.
How unsurprising.
I mean, it's not
It's
that much.
actually very surprising for me
Well,
because
it's surprising that from the US.
yeah.
Yeah, so what? He was...
So he was talking to a friend of mine and then he heard my voice and was like, "Is that from Geek Squad?"
Oh.
And I was like, "Bro, you
Wow.
must really follow." So he says hi to you guys and hi to everybody.
Hi, Justice. Thank you for listening all the way from the US. And we really appreciate it. Too bad you didn't recognize Michael's voice.
Michael was around. And sponsors, that shows that we have value proposition. We have
Yeah.
serious
I
value.
mean, we have reach.
yeah, we reach.
We have reach. Speaking of which, some of our reach extends to the same thing that I experienced. So I called a dentist that I wanted to come for a dentist appointment. And after the conversation on the phone, and I went after the conversation at the dentist's, he said, "Oh, so I'll be looking forward to listening to you." I'm like,
I'm
well,
provoked,
he's like,
you know?
"Oh yeah, I figured you are
You were-
right from the moment you called." So Dr. Glover, thank you for listening as well, and thank you for checking my teeth, my jaw.
To
Actually,
be honest, we really appreciate all our
yeah,
listeners.
we appreciate everybody that listens. We
Yeah.
know tech can be a lot to take in. I know some people who listen to us say that, "Charlie, we really wish."
Imagine how we feel having to learn this stuff and still having to break it down to teach you. So we try for you. We really do love
Yeah,
you
we
enough
have
to
to
go
try
through
hard.
all
Yeah.
of that
I
stress
think
for
we'll
you.
do what we recently. We'll have a whole episode for
breaking it
breaking
down.
down. Yeah, for
Yeah.
Send
Every tech term
send,
that you
send in
heard,
your woes and your headaches, except your
it would
phone.
have to be like a whole month.
yeah.
Yeah, like we'll dedicate a whole month to breaking down tech terms, tech instances, problems, and everything for people
Yeah.
as simply as possible. Because sometimes you realize it's you think it's actually that simple, but
Yeah.
I realized how complicated it was when someone tried to explain a medical situation to me and was using medical terms, and I kept asking, "What does this mean? What is that?" And they keep realizing, "Oh, you're a geek. You're not
Yeah.
a medical doctor." So yeah, we appreciate you for listening, and we will do our best as always to make it simple and break it down as much as possible so you can understand. And those who are listening to us in your cars, thank you for letting us replace your music. And without further ado, today we're talking about cyberbullying. Yes, those who think that they are savage, those who think that the comment section on said website is the best place to go to for a laugh, those who think that going to Twitter to go see some responses, and those who actually sit down and come up with these responses either to be savage or agenda must agenda or to trend or give me one of the terms.
What to be irrelevant on the internet?
Oh yeah, cyber relevance. And to all y'all keyboard warriors, we know y'all.
We're coming for you tonight.
Yeah, we're coming for you tonight because it's very necessary that you know the impact of what you do. As you probably know, it happened quite recently where a gentleman who was accused of cyberbullying on the internet, Twitter to be specific, found himself on the other side of the tweets
Yeah.
or the bullying. I want to say the other side of the law, but it was not the law. Oh, and my producer Abeku said he did it again yesterday. Charlie. So Gary. Oh,
Interesting.
it is interesting.
So I guess what are the limits? So today I guess we'll be discussing what are these limits and
Yeah.
the effects.
First, we just need to let people understand. Some people don't consider what they do on internet as cyberbullying.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I think in Ghana, yeah, the very first issue is, do we value the word bullying?
so here's a tweet. Baba Tando wrote, El Chemano announcing his return. The fearsome threesome will catch you again. So Gary L. Smith posted a picture of him in a suit.
Geek Squad. Geek Squad.
A bad one, by the way. But others are considering that still as trolling, which is, for those who don't know, the boomers. Trolling is when someone decides to make fun of you, poke fun of you on the internet. And so, with all that background, we're about to have that conversation. And you've probably already heard Michael and Winston's voices. And we have Note Doa, who is a psychologist who's going to give us the mental effect this kind of behavior has on people, the victims, and also those who are actually perpetrating this cyberbullying or this trolling or agending the agenda, as they like to call it. Yes, so gentlemen, welcome.
Thanks,
Thank
Spiky.
you.
And first off, I'm going to ask you, Winston, what is cyberbullying?
So, but like just a few moments that I said, I don't know, it's very difficult to explain bullying in Ghanaian context because in our societal context, to a certain degree, any form of actions that are done to embarrass you or to force you to belittle you, air quotes, people just feel like you should toughen up. Like that's the
Have a
general
tough skin.
Yeah, that's the general consensus around. So, but cyberbullying is basically that behavior put on the internet where you post something and then everybody is just they're just coming at you for, it's like people you don't know, people you've never met in your lives, and they say quite hurtful things. They it's very difficult to I think it's easier to see than to explain. Yeah, but basically it's, if you know what bullying is,
Just bring it to the
bullying,
internet.
yeah, just bring it to the internet.
So it's so important that UNICEF actually has a page for cyberbullying. And I'm going to read their definition of cyberbullying. And it says, cyberbullying is bullying with the use of digital technologies. And it can take place on social media, messaging platforms, gaming platforms, and mobile phones. And it is repeated behavior aimed at scarring, angering, or shaming those who are targeted. Examples like spreading lies about or posting embarrassing photos of someone on social media, sending hurtful messages or threats via messaging platforms, and then impersonating someone and sending mean messages to others on their behalf. So, with that being said, Michael, have you ever been bullied?
No, I haven't been cyberbullied. I've been bullied on the road many times, but I've never been cyberbullied.
But have you cyberbullied someone?
Not now. It is entirely possible. I might have done it.
As per the
accident-
definition.
As per the definitions, it is entirely possible I might have done something that someone would consider bullying. If I have done that, I am sorry. I did not mean to do it.
Winston,
I try not to.
have you been bullied?
So the truth, I've never been bullied.
Okay.
And I haven't bullied before because I don't spend as much time on social media enough to.
So, cyberbullying, none. And you haven't
No,
cyberbullied.
I don't say much and I don't do much.
You haven't.
You-
Okay,
you
haven't
don't-
bullied
you don't talk
anybody in
much.
person.
In
Just show
person.
action.
Okay, so this is a very interesting thing, and most of my mates in Motown will attest to this. So back when we were mates, there was this guy who was my mate. Like he and I were in the same year, and for some strange reason, everybody just seemed to pick on him, and
Including you.
I didn't like overtly go and pick on him or something like that. But like I used to watch how I'm like, you give off, for the lack of a better term, a prey sense. Like people just want to prey on you. And I see him. He's a good friend. And but actively, so juniors, I never did any of that. I never did.
Okay.
I can see
I mind
Winston,
my business.
I can see Winston now, like that picture of the lion praying over its meal. Like you should be harder than this. I'll still eat you later, but you need to try better.
So, since Michael is the possible bully in here,
Bulliest.
possible bully, and Winston
Spiky,
just might.
please don't say that. I just realized that there's a particular forum where all three of us are in that everyone is now going to want to, yes, I am the bully. I am not the bully, I am the victim.
I can actually argue against that, but let's continue. So, Note, welcome.
Thank you. I feel bullied.
Already.
You know, when I was driving up here, I heard you guys talking about Walkmans and how they are relics or mementos and stuff. And I realized, oh goodness, I'm going to be sandwiched with these guys who already think I'm some prehistoric dinosaur. And they want me to explain things they do, right? Or things that happen using their gadgets. But it's great to be here, and it's a very important topic. I'm glad you read out UNICEF's definition, but you'd be interested to know that even the Center for Disease Control monitors cyberbullying.
Wow.
Yeah, as a serious issue, and it's very broad, and it's not just your commissions. Sometimes your omissions. Right? Sometimes you are shut out of a group or a discussion with the intent of making you feel bad, or so exclusion, omission, even some of the hate speech and things we hear about these days are all encompassed under this definition. So it's great you guys are talking about the mental health impact of it, right? When we say mental health, we're looking at things that keep you okay, good and proper mentally, right? We haven't even traversed or gone into the territory of mental illness. But as soon as people hear mental health, then they start thinking, hey, it wasn't me. Right? But very often it is you. If it impacts on your well-being, then it's the thing we're talking about. So it's good that we're talking about it. Many people do it, as I would like to say, accidentally on purpose. I didn't
Michael.
really, it's like when you talk about stigma and discrimination, and people talk about maybe something like HIV. Oh, me, I wouldn't do that, right? But when your landlord or somebody starts giving you a hard time because of who you are, what they think you are, right? Then you realize, okay, discrimination, abuse, we're not all that far from it. And we could actually be part of the game. So it's good to be talking about it.
Right. Now, that's a good intro from Note. Michael, do you agree that if anything hurts your feelings online, it could be considered as cyberbullying? So, for instance, you do anything online and anyone's reaction to that hurts your feelings, it can be considered as cyberbullying?
I usually try and apply context to it. I don't accept all hate onto myself. Now, everyone has different ways of doing that, but I personally, if it doesn't affect me directly, then generally speaking, I'll just shrug it off and move on with my life. But yeah, there are some things that can be said sometimes, and it has been mentioned by accident or even by omission, and suddenly you feel a bit taken aback and it stings a bit. not too dissimilar to being in a class and there's a random discussion is going on, and someone randomly says something about you meant as a small joke, but it's something you take a bit more personally. But he didn't think that you took it as personally, and he just said it out, and we all got a good laugh out of it. You would laugh too, like you don't want to spoil the mood in a group, but you felt that little sting in your heart. That doesn't happen to me as much online, but I'm not going to discount the fact that it happens, and surely it happens to a lot more people far more often. And this is even something that is untargeted. Imagine someone actively picking out that, like, I know you're sensitive about this issue, I am going to harp on it and make it a big point.
So I'm coming to you.
Okay.
You haven't been a victim, or you haven't really.
I'm thinking about it. I think I've been a victim.
The benevolent lion.
He decided that's the best side to be on.
It's not. I actually thought about it. I think you guys would know about this. I made a certain YouTube video about a certain car brand.
Oh,
Exactly.
I remember.
Till date, I get funny comments popping up on my YouTube, and I mean, I guess I knew what I was getting myself into. Maybe that's why it didn't click to me that they were probably trying to cyberbully me. But yeah, that was an interesting. It was funny. It was all funny.
And that's where my bullying tendencies will come, because I'll see that stuff and we're like, how well? Do unto others. Golden rule. Let's go. We'll play this game today.
So, you know, a reason why I wanted to bring this up was the mention of the thick skin.
Normalization, rationalization of it.
Yes.
Right? Oh, this happens to everybody. Oh, you went to secondary school. They did what to you? But that is, listen to mine. That is below sub-threshold, right? And it allows this to happen insidiously, and people don't realize the damage. They think everybody should get over it.
Yeah.
Right? But remember this, and sorry I interrupted you, but remember this, that look, if it turns out to be a joke and everybody understands it as a joke, then maybe it doesn't fit the mold, right? But we're talking about something invariably, if you look at the definition, intentional, repeated. You see, a pattern is different from an incident. So, okay, one time we said, oh, your nose cries like this, right? But if we make it something that everybody chimes in and it goes on and on, then you start to see it's getting a bit toxic. And if you are sensitive or paranoid in real life, invariably, you transfer that onto the virtual space, right? Somebody who's anxious, somebody who's a bully in real life is likely to be a bully online. You post your girlfriend, say, Charlie, your brother fine, right? It's like, ouch. But it starts like that. But if it's repeated and it's intentional and it's running you down, some people are hit so hard. Sometimes people are even encouraged to engage in self-harm or commit suicide.
I saw that just last week.
So when he started talking, it's like, yeah, we are all supposed to be tough in a certain way. Oh, it was a joke, right? Invariably, if it was a joke, somebody in the space will realize it, correct it. Maybe some subtle, dilute apology will be given, or at least it will not be repeated. So for the listeners, it's important to know that we're not talking about your everyday, oh, Charlie, Chelsea lost and they deal with you, right? Yes, they did lose, okay? But if it's targeted, it's repeated, it's intentional, and the harm is evident, then people need to know about it and know the impact it has on people.
So then I have a question. Does that mean the Presec boys were bullied? Cyberbullying?
Trolling, I heard you mentioning it. Okay, these things, I told my own, I'm Kwabotre, but I did sixth form in Presec. But my year group, people were going, what at all is NMSQ? It doesn't matter. It is WASI, it is this. I said, but you entered. You entered the competition. You knew the rules. You knew the bar. Do you see? So I don't care. I went to advanced. Yes, we're kicked out. And it hasn't been good for a couple of years. Reality, right? But I also feel that if you go on at these Kwabotre boys who sadly are in the era where it's not good. Look, I've heard people harm themselves because of the kind of commentary. Right? When I was in university, there was a guy ahead of us, and he'd always won we used to call it cross country, but it's within campus. He'd always won. And one guy in Commonwealth, they were both in Commonwealth, said, this year, I'll sort you out. And he did. He led throughout. Just as they were coming into the final oval, the guy pipped him and won. So in the evening, people were celebrating and all the noise, and you can imagine Commonwealth and stuff. And like, hey, Charlie, where this guy did? And somebody went to knock on his door, no response. Then they climbed up, looked through the window. He was lying in a pool of blood.
Wow.
All right? Now, The thing with cyber is that it's immediate. You see, when you go home, you say home sweet home, you're safe. You don't dodge cyberbullying.
Yeah.
You don't even need to know the person, right? That person can be in Yugoslavia for all you care. He's dealing with you or doing something that's hurting you. So it's a new space. You say, I've gone home, I'm with my parents. And typically, a lot of the impact we look at teens and younger people, right? Somebody's home in their bedroom, but they are not safe. All right, this is what we need to realize. Okay, if you are bigger than me, you bully me in the dormitory or whatever. Okay, I dodge you, I avoid you. I see this senior coming, I'm gone. Do you see? But this one, the man is on my status. He has checked something and has passed a comment. That's your designer bag, whether it's Ferragamo or whatever. It's fake, right? So and so left the group. Okay, it starts like that, but then for some of us who unfortunately are a bit more sensitive, right? And sometimes even if you are not sensitive, something runs so deep that now you start to think and reflect. You start to exclude yourself from groupings and other things. And nobody ever knows it was because of this, right? So yes, NMSQ, some people lost, some people won. Okay, Presec was, they serve a living God. Okay, he's still living, right? And he was on duty, but this is the reality. But inevitably or invariably, you realize that, oh, Charlie, we got to the final. We took part. We represented. Do you see? So that one, typically you get over it. But if it is going to go on and on and on, you made us lose. Do you see? Then the trolling and other things now can get toxic and it can damage somebody.
Right. So let me ask you this. Why do you think people decide to bully people online? Like, what's the mind behind that?
Wow. Okay. So the first thing we've said in the definition, there's a pillar in there that says intentional, repeated. So there's some intent there, right? It may not start with intent. Somebody can start abusing a substance because a doctor prescribed it and they realize, oh, it also makes me feel this way. What is tramadol? It has its legitimate purpose. So yes, I'm happy to be online. I'm happy to be on WhatsApp, Snapchat, all the other ones I don't know a thing about, right? But I'm happy to be there to represent. There's a sense of belonging. If this is the culture here, it's accepted, and I'm the one with the sharp tongue, and suddenly I'm getting people who like me, or sometimes people even get ministerial posts because they are acidic in their approach to politics. So sometimes unconsciously you are being reinforced and moved on to say certain things, and you realize, oh, I get a response when I do this, and therefore I end up. So that's part of the mind, okay? It makes me matter in the group. I am recognized. In fact, sometimes there's something going on. There's a whole tsunami, somebody being dealt with, and I haven't spoken. Then somebody asks, where's Spiky Day? So you suddenly get a certain brand, and it becomes something you do, okay? Until you are on the receiving end, that you start to see that, hey, this thing, okay? Sometimes you can turn it around. I always tell people that the nickname you fight is the one that sticks.
Like Spiky.
Right? Okay? Spiky could have turned out to be a bad thing, but hey, Charlie, now people know Spiky, and Spiky responds to it. Indeed, somebody can come to your house if you live with your mom. It's like, I'm looking for Spiky. Why, Kobby? Do you see? Right? So there are some parts that you can modify and live with, and it's not so bad. Okay? And you may not see the intent, but where there's intent, I look out for people and I make them feel bad. I embarrass them. Any of us, I've been on air for years. You can slip, you can make a mistake, right? And it's part of the business. But sometimes something happens, and the way it is dealt with, you realize, I need to leave radio. I need to do something else. So that's the mind, right? The person who preys on other people's weaknesses and deficiencies, or brings things out just to make somebody feel bad, invariably is being reinforced to do it. Being made to feel they are bigger and better and stronger, right? And therefore you can do it. Okay? Until you get it back in equal measure, that you start to realize that, hey, I don't like that. And you find people who do it sometimes when it turns, giving people warnings. And they say, you of all people. Okay, so yes, there's this reinforcement. You learn it. And you realize that, somebody's never put up a DP. Then one day, the spirit drops on them and they put up a picture and oh my goodness.
Like Winston.
Right? Okay. And then they're thinking, who sent me to put up a DP? Right? Or to show my house.
Yeah.
Or my dad's car. I know a kid who years ago, even before internet and all that, had warned his dad that he shouldn't come and pick him from school. His dad had done body works and hadn't sprayed. So his kids, his friends called the car Batik.
I can totally relate.
Right? So his mom had a relatively newer car and says, Ma, please, tell dad he should not come and pick me. And the arrangement is such that at that time, dad is closer and that's the flow. You go with mom in the morning, dad, he said, he should not come near the school because I am dying in school. There's somebody who wouldn't go to school because he wanted particular trainers. His mom said, what you've got is good enough. It's not worn out. It's not spoiled. You will wear this footwear. But the thing was, he was being dealt with and dealt with and dealt with. You see, he's nodding. Dealt with and dealt with until a point where, for somebody, it might even affect his academic performance, his self-confidence, his esteem, right? His grades start to drop. And a parent might want, what is going on? Okay, so we need to look out for these things, talk about them, but be able to identify it when it's happening to somebody, especially younger children who are now forming their identity and deciding who they are. Somebody, you know, when I was a kid, I grew up in Liverpool. I was the only one in my family who supported Everton because I loved blue. And those days, Everton meant something. Right? I dare not mention Everton now, right? But they were Merseyside clubs, right? And there's somebody who supports a team but can never mention it. Do you see? Because they feel they will be shut down. So you have your preferences, but you modify them and you develop a screensaver which is user-friendly in a group. Okay? The truth is you are living two lives and it's impacting on you. You pretend to be this to make the geeks comfortable, right? But this is the real naughty. But around these guys, you know, I know you are BMW. Charlie, I see Spiky. Charlie, I drive a Passat now. I'm more German. Benz and, you know, and hey, listen to this guy, right?
No, I said,
Okay. Oh no.
If you were in a group with us and you drive a Passat,
You'd have been
Don't worry, I don't mind. I'll carry it on my head. You see, this is the point. Okay, so there's somebody in this your group who, he likes you guys. You are mates from whatever. You are geek, whatever. But when it comes to cars, he can't stand you guys. He's suffocated and overwhelmed by you guys. Okay, and he might avoid that grouping, right? It may show harsher or deeper damage, depending, right? In other realms and other, he's fine. But when you guys start doing your BMW thing, sometimes I see Spiky status. I'm like, hey, this guy is right? Very soon you have a meal called BMW, right? But he's able to project it, but it doesn't mean somebody else should not be able to project theirs, okay? And you may not realize because you are obsessed with BMW. So if you are dealing with somebody harshly on a toxic way, you won't feel it.
True.
Because you are amongst your crews. But somebody is dying and you won't realize it. It's bullying. It's harassment, you see. And sometimes even how to report it. You I'm sure you talk about it. The sites and the platforms and the devices have mechanisms for reporting. It means they themselves realize that it can get that bad. Somebody is watching BBN and says, viewers are warned that watching and viewing can be addictive. They give you a package, they're making money out of it, but they tell you this is the thing, right? And some of the gaming platforms and things, a lot of this thing goes on, right? There are people who are gambling, right? And we in our field now talk of addictive behaviors. So it's not just alcohol or weed or anything. They're addictive behaviors online, and in so many respects, cyberbullying can also be addictive.
I was just about to ask, but since you've answered that. Now, when you were talking, you mentioned people who cyberbully people. When tables are turned, they begin to feel the pinch of it. Would you say that a way to deal with cyberbullies is to give them a taste of their own medicine?
Well, you've got to know what you're dealing with. You know, we haven't gone into various types. Spiky, I have just turned your nude pictures viral. Okay.
I hope he performed.
See his life. I told you.
See your life.
I haven't diagnosed yet. But listen, cyberbullying is potentially permanent. You
Yes.
can delete something, but the geeks like these guys, they'll tell you we have retrieved it.
Internet never forgets.
Nope, it
Right?
doesn't.
Do you see? 10 years ago, somebody brings up, Samajan missed a penalty.
Oh my God.
And they decide to put it in there. Right? Okay, it happened.
Can we
But
move
on
on?
the flip side of that is this guy has scored more goals for us. He's done this, he's done that. At some point, he was the highest paid African sportsman.
Highest paid African sportsman, leading in goal scoring
Yes.
at a time.
But
Like
that was not that's
Yeah.
not appetizing to you. You go and bring the fact that, oi,
one penalty.
You missed the
enye wanka. Do you see?
Why don't we project that same hate towards
Right.
what's his name, the Argentinian guy who
Suarez. Yeah,
Suarez.
people are falling in love with
Suarez.
him because he plays for
Oh,
Barcelona.
he's not Argentinian. He's Uruguayan.
Uruguay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
So,
project love
yeah,
to.
but people
See
can
how
put
little
up
I
an
know
Apple.
about
They can
football.
put up the Apple logo and say Suarez was here because he bites. You see, it may be something he's worked on. He actually had to have therapy for some of these things. I remember reading something like that. Okay, Tyson took a chunk out of Holyfield. All right, and so on and so forth. It may not be his best moment. Okay, he's been charged for rape or sexual assault before. All right, let's say fast forward, R. Kelly comes out. This is what you want to talk about. So it's a very dynamic phenomenon, and we've got to start looking at it. You can have a outfit costume malfunction on stage. That is what somebody wants to keep on playing, right?
Oh, Janet
And
Jackson.
I'm saying, Spiky, you are the geeks. This is potentially permanent.
Yeah.
So if it damages you or hurts you, anybody can bring it back. Recently, somebody brought back some secondary school pictures, and it's been enlarged. And like, is this what you look like? Right? But somebody can bring anything back, and so long as it's on your kind of space, your kind of gadget, that's the, if I wrote a letter to somebody in Wesley Girls when I was informed to, unless you find it, right? But if I sent her something, or she rejected or bounced me, right, and shares it with a few other girls, that can you imagine this guy? He didn't even check himself. He wants to date me. Not only have I rejected you, I've publicized the rejection, right? This is what we're talking about here. And a lot of things can go wrong for people when this happens to them.
Actually, on the subject of publicizing a lot of things, that is a big element of it. The oversharing
Yes.
of certain pieces of information. We don't need to know, and some people even do it to themselves, where people post their own misfortune or their own wrong choices in an effort to get quote unquote engagements on their social media profiles. But I mean, I was like, you do realize that everything you've just said shows that you are the one who had aside the fact that you posted it, you made the wrong call with your judgment in this situation. You are not the victim. You are the perpetrator. Or in some cases, they know they're the victim and they are searching for pity and pity votes.
Sympathy.
Yeah.
But then
And then it backfires and people start bullying them. Well, Geek Squad is brought to you by MTN. Choose your own bundle your own way with MTN Flexi Bundle. Just dial *138# and enjoy bundles that don't expire. So if you're listening to us and you want to switch to your mobile device, we're on Facebook Live at Joy997 FM and on YouTube Joy997 FM. You can also tweet at us #JoyGeekSquad. Don't bully us. If we buy, like I've bought plenty, it's because I haven't drank water. Don't cyberbully me, I beg.
Tell them it's genetic.
Yes, it is. So we'll take a quick breather. When we come back, I'll read your WhatsApp messages and your tweets. We'll be right back.
Rise and shine, my people, and
Geek Squad. Geek Squad. Squad. Geek Squad. Geek Squad. Geek Squad. Geek Squad.
With Geek Squad, which is probably brought to you by MTN Flexi Bundles. Choose your own bundle your own way with MTN Flexi Bundle. Just dial *138# and enjoy bundles that don't expire. Also, if you've been wondering what the next big thing is, then you're going to love Ayoba. Yes, Ayoba. Ayoba is your all-in-one app that lets you chat, call, share, play, pay, and listen to music all in one app for everyone. Yes, you heard me right. You can send money through Momo while you chat with your friends, your family, your favorite vendors, and you can also get to catch up with all the latest trends on various channels. You can play games, you can listen to music, you can do so much more, all in the comfort of one social app. Download the Ayoba app now on Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and enjoy a whole new way to communicate and have fun. Remember, Ayoba is available to all networks, but if you're an MTN, you get to enjoy it at no data cost. I mean, zero. No even bundle safe. You can use Ayoba. Hurry now, download Ayoba. Ayoba, made in Africa for the world. And yes, so far, I don't think there's any cyberbullying on Ayoba. Is there yet? So, I'm on all platforms where folks are insulted and attacked for no reasons. And the sad part is these bullies are folks who claim are educated and know better. But unfortunately, they're dumb folks. Makes sense, they won't care. They resort to personal attacks instead of having a mature convo, and I'm attacked severally just because I re-echoed to them to be responsible with their words. It's not funny, and I also think the victims do not take these bullies on. Imagine someone sent to court for such a crime. This will caution others to be mindful of what they say about others. That's from Sly. Thank you for that, Sly. So, I remember...
Is it a crime?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. In fact, we've had a guy sentenced for sharing his girlfriend's pictures and stuff before.
Okay. Yeah.
So we've got to realize, look, even WikiLeaks, you have information or data and you share it, right? If you look deeply at the definitions, some of these things form as a part of cyber violence, harassment, and so on and so forth. This is the conversation between so and so and so. This is the whole chat between, I don't want to mention any celebrity or whatever, between this person and that person, okay? And somebody just puts it out there, okay? And these things can be damaging, okay? This person and his wife are divorcing. This is something he has put out there against his spouse or his ex, right? So sometimes you're just sharing, there's something they call, is it doxing? Or there's a name. You just, it's documentary or it's like the word document, right? And I just take a slice of it and I put it out there with a certain intent, okay? And it starts to cause the damage. And like I said, Spiky, it is potentially permanent.
Yeah.
It can be viewed across the world in seconds.
I think last
Right.
week on Showbiz, it was a discussion as well, and I heard that there's a lady who was cyberbullied, and the posts were presented in court for defamation.
Yeah.
And she won, and the person was supposed to pay damages. So yes, if you do insult someone or you do cyberbully, and your words are considered defamatory, you could actually be sued.
Yeah, there are
and the
laws.
person- yeah.
And all these platforms have rules, and because you want the app or you want the software or the platform, click, agree. Go read that long thing, and you see that there's protection layered in there,
Yeah.
and you can be dealt with, right? You notice now certain countries, if you're entering, it can get to the level where they if they have cause, they'll go through your phone, right? If you've been chatting and it says that you're coming to stay permanently in the US and you say you're on a 2-week visit, we're not going to let you in.
True.
Right? But in terms of damage to people, right? People are depressed, they're anxious, they are panicky. You know, something was revealed about me. Now when I'm in the midst of people, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Do you see? I feel people know, right? And I may get to the point where I need professional support or therapy. And people don't see how bad this thing gets, right? And people can even get suicidal, right? Years back, we had a musician who owed somebody, I think, was it 20 Ghana cedis or those days, or whatever. Was it Tommy Redu? He committed suicide.
Wow.
Okay, and that's in the real world. Can you imagine if this is online? That, oh, you owe this person this
And it was
much,
spread.
or you stole this, or in secondary school you were caught stealing and you were beaten, and so on and so forth. Okay, these days there's a lot of heckling and bullying in politics, in court cases that are ongoing, and so on. People are running their commentary. Okay, so it's that bad and it's that broad. So you need to know where it's at. You've shared something with somebody in times when you were friends. Now you're not friends. You cannot retrieve or delete. Now I know you can send messages that can only be viewed once and then they disappear.
Yeah.
Even
Oh,
then.
even that
Even
in the
that.
midst
Yeah.
of characters like, you know, Robin Hood and Friar Tuck and whatever. It is that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just got married, Spiky. And you are living happily ever after, and then somebody throws something. Oh, that your girl, sorry, your wife. You know, say
Yeah. That you
Okay.
know, say.
They don't even need to finish.
I intentionally use broken English, right? So because I'm with you guys. So it's like, what was the intent? We just got married. Okay? You knew this,
And you waited.
and then you wait. Then I go and say I do. And then
Even
In
before they say I do that, do anyone have probable cause?
They
why
ask.
and they asked, and you still kept quiet.
and
So
then
you-
now suddenly here we go. Do you see? Sometimes I have clients who are in turmoil, and one of the things I do very quickly is, can you stay off social media for a while?
Detox.
Okay. Just pull back, because you can't handle that intensity. There are people who, when they are depressed and down, that is when they are posting things on Facebook. I know somebody who can say toxic things about her own mother when she's in a certain mood, and she pastes it online. Right? And so these are the things we're looking at that people do, and then now how do you take that back? When?
I would like you to share some of your experiences with me on WhatsApp 055 quadruple 1997 055 997. Have you ever been bullied on social media or in the cyberspace? And have you ever bullied? If you have, after listening to us, do you think that you would continue? Because some of these things, as we mentioned, they may be accidental, but you've ended up bullying people. And by the way, MTN wants you to know that it's giving away loads and loads of gifts to you because we're in the season of giving. And it's just for doing what you do best on your favorite network. Now, you too can live your best life and enjoy so much more with MTN Rewards. Just keep talking, texting, and browsing all day. Every day to collect points and use those points to redeem amazing offers and discounted freebies right away. MTN Rewards is giving you discounts on some of your favorite restaurants and stores and allowing you to redeem airtime today. All you have to do is dial *550# and get your MTN reward today. MTN everywhere you go. Now, I believe we understand what all this cyberbullying is, and we know. I mean, at a point I thought, I've not cyberbullied people, but then I realized, I just may have bullied people with my BMW.
Confessions. Confessions.
No, I mean, you
drew his attention to it.
So, how do we deal with cyberbullies?
Yeah.
I mean, we know the tech version, as Note had rightly mentioned, on almost every platform you can report. As my producer mentioned, someone who's always almost the first person to comment on all my posts. If you follow me on social media, I know Majid Sidawi, and he's like the one troll that I feed. He's my best friend from primary school, and he always bullies me, but it doesn't affect me because I know why he's doing this. He's just trying to get my attention because I ignore him a lot. But yes, Majdi, I'm going to send you this episode. You've been bullying me, see? People have noticed. So stop. I'm not going to report you, though.
I will.
But Spiky, I know we're running out of time, or we've run out of time, but, there are very explosive and sensitive things, okay? These days, it sounds like it's not so. I grew up in Liverpool in the 70s. I knew what it was like to play football at school level and be black. You hear football players now talk about tweets they received and things that have gone on. Recently, the cricket player forgotten his name, Indian guy or Pakistani guy, played for Surrey or one of those places. There's been a whole inquest, right? Somebody is hitting you because you are black. And the comments are coming, right? There are very, very explosive things that are going on under this umbrella we're discussing. So I think maybe, apart from looking at the laws or the interventions or prevention, right, we need to look at some of these very, very explosive ones that I don't mind saying it. Some of the platforms, you look at the comment sections and oh my goodness, there's a whole tribal, ethnic, and whatever tsunami going on. And people have given themselves, don't forget you can pretend.
Yeah.
Impersonating and disguising yourself is part of the bullying. People are able to do it and be so toxic and horrid to people because you don't even know who they are, right? So these are things that we need to maybe look at another time and see, so how do we do this? We don't even know who he is. He says he's a woman.
Yeah.
But actually, it's a man.
Catfishing.
Right? Okay. Oh, that's what it's called. Catfishing. Oh, poor cats. Okay. You have all the terms. So I think it's important to look at these things. And then we also need to tell, well, how do I get help? Okay. These are my Motown or my Kwaboche mates. But honestly, there are some guys out there that terrify the living daylights out of me on a regular basis. And now I withdraw or I isolate. So it's broader than we can cover in one segment, but I'm hoping that we've done justice to what it is, what it looks like, smells like, if we trip over it in the dark. But we need to now look at what do we do about it. Should we forego the positives of
Social
the
media.
cyberspace, or can we cleanse it in some way?
That was actually my question.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to ask that, realistically speaking, everything on the table.
Yeah.
Which is the best way to deal with this? Is developing a tough skin the only way out?
Tough skin is subjective.
Yeah.
I've seen tough people crumble. Do you see? I've seen tough people crumble because of what has been exposed. So it's not about tough skin. It's about the safeguards within the system. Do you see? For example, now, it's not even now, it's not recent, but you can't forward something more than
5
a
times.
certain time, number of times, and so on. These are all measures that address different things, not just the cyberbullying, okay? But somebody copies it and does this and that. You made a mistake or you expose yourself during a Zoom, right? And you know, and you're trying to pull it back, but somebody has recorded it. Okay,
Screenshots.
so this is not just about tough skin.
Yeah.
You didn't. I mean, your wife is crossing the sitting room wearing next to nothing, and you are doing a Zoom interview, right? And it's captured, and you know some of these things. Here you go. Next time, put me further away from him, man. Right? But these are things you can't pull back.
Yeah.
But somebody brings it back, and now maybe listeners will say, "Charlie, the thing the guy is saying is serious." All right. So let's look at some of these things. Look at the laws, and look at whether they are effective, or there's a better way of looking at this.
Right.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Note. We've learned a mighty lot, and I'm sure you at home in your cars, wherever you are, have too. So, for those who don't know, there's always ways to report cyberbullying. You can report a person, you can report a post, you can report a tweet. Even if it's not directed at you and you see that someone is being bullied, you can report it. It's something that I think we should all take. And then also, as mentioned, someone mishap on a Zoom call and you saw it. Let's be responsible. Let's not share things that could end up hurting someone, no matter how much we hate them. Right?
Yes, right.
Right, Michael?
Absolutely.
The guys are confessing to hate and hatred.
From now on, we won't troll the VAG Nation.
Apologies, Myers.
Yeah,
Look,
apologies, Myers.
we
Apologies,
don't
Corey.
hate you. We love you and want the best for you, which usually means you
No buy
not
problem
doing that.
VAG Nation represented in the
You
studio.
can buy me a new car. I won't cry.
Yeah, we're getting sponsors. When we get sponsors.
Yes, insist on a BMW for me.
Straight.
Why would I not?
So that's
series.
it's a ZenBook Pro in there,
I
and then have a
benefited
nice
from the
package
trolling.
deal.
Right, fine. Okay, I'll do
All
that.
right. So, thank you very much for joining us. The show was brought to you by MTN. Choose your own bundle, your own way with MTN Flexi Bundle. Just dial *138# and enjoy bundles that don't expire. You can find this episode on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, on YouTube, and on Facebook at Joy997. My name is Kobby Spiky Nkrumah. Thank you very much, Abeku and Prince Afo. And thank you, Michael Winston and Notedwa, for joining us in the studio. We'll catch you next week with another one. And yes, Fairboy, I almost forgot about you. You've been Kumasi trolling all the NSMQ people. See? Effects of cyberbullying. Peace.
Geek Squad. Geek Squad. Geek Squad.